Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go. All right, back in the can for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. I've got an in-person victim here. We're on the tail end of the lockdown, so I actually get to bring people into the studio now, which makes it a lot more fun. So let's just dive on in. Who the fuck are you? What do you do?
Hey, I'm Antz Hansen from New Zealand, and I'm a extreme sports photographer, travel filmmaker, and skydiver.
Awesome. A Kiwi, first off.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm fond of Kiwis. I got to spend a little bit of time that way.
There's a few of them hanging around.
One or two. I'm guessing you probably know most of them.
Yeah. There's, one of the reasons why I came to the Middle East was because there was a good rep from the Kiwis that were based here.
Nice.
And yeah, it was good. Having friends straight away.
Very cool. Now, how did you, that's a pretty specific side of photography. How did you get into extreme photography? I mean, you got to put yourself in some pretty rough situations to get the shots, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it all started like I was a young commercial photographer when I left school. I left school really early, just on my 16th birthday.
Oh, okay.
And started in a studio straight away. And I always saw skydiving or parachute, the New Zealand Air Force throwing people out of an Andover round parachutes back in the 80s.
Nice.
And I always looked across and went, wow, that's kind of a cool thing to do, get a T-shirt and do that once.
Sure.
And so that was always a goal when I was 12 years old to go, hey, when I'm 15 and I'm old enough, I just want to do the jump and do a T-shirt. So I've done it anyway. German class, two nice students said, hey, we're going to go and do our first jump course. Do you want to come? And I was like, oh, you're very cute. Yeah, I'll come. Yeah, of course I do. And I'd seen this parachuting from my balcony at Whenuapai in New Zealand in Auckland. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I'll go along. So 2 nights of training, Tuesday, Thursday, through the Air Force, through their parachute training unit.
Okay.
And Saturday came and it was crap weather. And the girls didn't turn up. And so I was like, fuck. So I did it anyway. I thought, I've done this. I've paid the $150. I've got to give it a go. And so I did went out on the Saturday for Saturday morning training. Of course, it was really windy. And this was 1984. And so it was put off. And then 2 weeks later, it was the 1st of April, and that was jump day.
Wow.
And so that was my first jump around parachute, I think,
on
T10
April Fool's
or
Day.
Something, April Fool's Day.
Awesome.
Girls didn't turn up, and I did, and that was it. My parents shouted me McDonald's afterwards as a celebration.
Nice.
And it was like, oh, wicked.
Nice.
And loved the exit, loved the canopy ride, hated the fuck out of the landing.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
I can imagine.
And so I did 3 jumps. I think I did a bit of damage on the third one and went, hey, I've got the T-shirt. That's it. I'm done. You know, this round parachute stuff is shit.
Right.
And so anyway, I was on Monday to Fridays, I was a photographer. And then friends said their family were starting a drop zone in New Zealand, which was the first non-club drop zone parachute centre. And they wanted some students to boost their numbers.
Sure.
Would I be keen? I was like, nah, I've done it, you know. Oh, they've got those square parachutes. And I was like, oh, wicked. I tried to flare my round one. I thought they were really cool.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, I'll come along and do it. So Tuesday, Thursday night again, jump on Saturday. And once again, I just wanted to try the square parachute. I had no goals of, skydiving. And so I finished, we went to Matamata and jumped out of 182. And I had a premature on the climb up.
Jesus.
Because I think the jump master was a bit excited and he sort of, and now looking back, I know he really fucked up. But, came down, then back up, and then the next time it was like, hey, you can do another jump, $35. And I was like, that's gear hire and stuff. And I was like, shit, yeah, I'm here, I'll do it.
Yeah,
I want to just do another one. Next one was a DRP because I'd already done a couple. And then before I knew it, I was like, I want to do my first activation. Then I want to do a 5-second delay. Then I did a 10-second delay. No such thing as AFF or tandems.
Right.
And so that was it. But I never wanted to mix my photography with skydiving. I wanted to keep my Monday to Friday. This commercial, I was photographing lettuces, people,
Sure.
dead fruit, whatever.
Right.
And on the weekends I'd skydive. And then winter came along, and on weekends I'd ski. So I never crossed over until I started seeing other people's photography, and I was like, oh, I think I can do better than that.
Sure. Well, it's because most of the people were like me. I got into skydiving, and the only reason that I ever picked up a camera was because it was the first, easiest, and most available way for me to turn a buck in the sport. So at obscenely low jump numbers, I had a camera helmet with a Canon lawn to the top of my head and a high-8 video camera, neither of which I knew how to use on the ground. I set the focus to infinity on the Canon, jumped out, pushed the button, and looked at whatever I was. That was it. So my introduction was completely backwards. I was the skydiver that only used a camera to turn a buck.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens. People go, oh, no one wants to jump with me. I know, I'll jump camera.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't like that. I wanted to, I came into skydiving in New Zealand at a really fortunate time. There was, there's the old washover from the 70s and 80s of big baggy suits. And there was a four-way team in New Zealand called Vertigo, and it was Gyro, Graham Taylor, Jenny Millington, and Craig Stevenson. And they were travelling a lot, and they're doing really good four-way for New Zealand, slick suits and ripstop, and everything was like quite, compared to other people on the drop zone, it was quite cool.
Sure.
And so I saw that as the standard straight away. I didn't come through sort of wayward lessons. I had some really cool role models around me for skydiving. So anyway, I came through, and I never wanted to pick up my camera on the drop zone, because it was like Monday to Friday I'm carrying a camera. On the weekend,
Right.
What builder goes to the drop zone and wants to build the drop zone,
Right.
So it was like kind of kept it really separate until one day I started shooting. I was testing a camera, and I was like, carrying around the drop zone. Anyway, won some awards for some photography, and then got noticed, and they said, we're just starting it. This is 1990s, starting a drop zone in Queenstown, a tandem operation. It was the first full-time tandem operation in Australasia. And they said, do you want to come and jump camera? And I was like, actually, yeah, fuck yeah.
Sure.
It sounds like a really good idea. So there's three of us, a 206, the owner of the drop zone, one of the owners of the drop zone, another guy who works for New Zealand Aerosports now, Jamie Cardo, and there was me. And that was my first full-time job as a camera flyer.
Sure.
And also the first professional camera flyer in Australasia. Everyone had done it on the weekends and clubs.
Right.
But this was the first professional drop zone. So my claim was, hey, I'm the first.
That's awesome.
First professional camera flyer in Australasia. And I love filming tandems, and I always saw it. And it was an early stage of tandems. Ted Strong had come to New Zealand in '88, and he'd taken some skydivers doing tandem instruction courses. There's rating instructors like Al Romain and a few others that wanted to be tandem. And once again, I thought those tandem instructors were like camera flyers or camera people on the weekend jumping cameras.
Sure.
People who didn't want to jump with them, they'd go, oh, I take. So probably attracted some not healthy people, because they weren't getting a lot of airtime, and they thought, hey, well, taking someone was a way of jumping with people. So fuck that. So I never the amount of tandems I'd seen, I just wanted to fly camera, and that was my priority. It was like it was film, still, and everything was like trying to hone the perfect storytelling from gearing up to the plane ride, to in the door, the exit, the drogue release, the the wide shot of the scenery in Queenstown, spectacular.
Oh yeah.
So you got this huge lake, mountains coming up 6,500 feet beside you that you're jumping down in front of. And so scenery-wise, it's spectacular.
Oh, yeah. Stuff to beat.
But also, I was a manual shooter. Everything was on manual. I'd look out of the plane. My Olympus OM1N was on my head. ProTech helmet, looking out going, bit of cloud. I might have to shut down or open up a bit. So I'd reach up and click round half a click or something to expose. So that was my start in extreme photography, I guess.
Nice.
But then I crossed over into winter sports, because skydiving isn't really busy in winter. So I became a qualified ski instructor, but I also started filming skiing with the same passion of filming skydiving.
Nice.
So crossed between the two. And so summers I'd be jumping out of planes, and then winters I'd be instructing and filming.
That's epic. Now, what was the name of the guy that did the Warren something or other did the winter.
Warren Miller.
Yeah.
No, he
so
was a real role model. So it's for me, Warren Miller in skiing, and there was Norm Kent and Patrick Pass
Sure.
in filmmaking. So I always saw that stuff and went, wow. So I started doing more still shots. That was my thing. I never was like, I jumped video with a VHS compact video recorder on my front when that
Right.
for the Nationals or something. That was hideous. Cabled, huge, big, thing cut into a Protec helmet on your head.
Mm-hmm.
It was ugly. So I didn't see the attraction of jumping video until High 8 Super VHS compact came along, and High 8 came along, and it was like, oh, all of a sudden the tape is in the camera. Wow,
Right.
that might catch on.
Yep, and that's about when I started shooting, was when High 8 was all the rage, and I remember, of course, having to gaff tape your camera because you'd get the tape flutter and all the shit that none of the jumpers now know anything about.
Well, that's it, and it's like actually setting up the shot. It's not like about like now what I notice in a lot of sports, not just skydiving, a lot of extreme sports, people can tape a camera onto their body, and they can capture the stuff because it's just happening around them. They're not necessarily skiing the camera or flying the camera into the position. They just happen to be randomly catching shit.
Sure.
My focus has always been on setting up or doing the shot. I've already got the picture in my head of what it needs to happen. Now with a tandem, it's a great base to practice. Because
it's
once
super
that
exciting.
drogue's out, but you can mix it up, and it's not about your own flying. It's about making pictures.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember seeing a video of myself shooting video. I had a buddy of mine shoot outside video of me just shooting a video of a tandem. And you don't think about how you're flying when you're shooting a tandem video. All you're thinking about is the shot. I need to be here for this. I need to go there for that. Whatever it is you want to produce for that particular image. And then we watched the video backwards, and I was just slack-jawed, horrified at what I looked like flying, because I looked like a fucking moron. One arm here, one back there, foot twisted this way, kind of sideways, but my video is rock solid and exactly where I want to be, but I look like I'm having a seizure.
Yeah, I think that's the important part as well, and you'll get that in interesting exits. Doesn't matter if you're exiting behind a 16-30 way or whatever.
Yeah.
Or an AFF. AFF can go pretty wild sometimes, depending what you're doing.
Can.
So, it's pretty interesting. But it's being adaptable, but always your head is the most stable part of the whole scenario.
Exactly.
And everything flails around it, but it's also compensating around it.
Sure.
And so it's got to be intuitive. You can't be flying a camera if you're not happy with what you're up to.
No, you can't be thinking about body position and trying to get the shots.
With that, it sort of got a bit of a reputation for filming, and then there would be what was it? Some agencies would turn up and want something filmed in freefall, of course, and that would be rigged up, or I'd be rigged up with some old World War II gun camera on top that would be spewing film, and that was hideous because you'd never jump it. It didn't fit, and it was really heavy. But they had this vision of what they wanted, but the reality of what you could actually film in freefall was another thing.
Right.
So New Zealand, it was great for skydiving for me. It was a perfect base to really launch into sort of extreme sport, and especially Queenstown, because it was the home of bungee jumping.
Right. AJ
Hackett.
Hackett.
Yeah.
AJ
that started at the same time as us in Queenstown.
Oh, wow.
89.
Yeah, I mean, Queenstown is kind of world famous for extreme sports in that kind of genre.
It is now, and back then there was only a handful of us doing it.
How cool is that?
Well, you'd know everyone. We were in the Parapint Club. We'd go down and get special deals on Guinness afterwards with the parapointers.
Awesome.
And it was a good little community.
Sure.
In the summer there's rafting, mountain biking, climbing, winter snowboarding, skiing.
Well, in a place like that.
And so it attracts like people.
Sure.
And if we meet people in a city, they'll go, "You're a freak, you jump out of planes." But in Queenstown it's normal.
Sure.
It's like, oh, he's an extreme mountaineer, or he's just summited Everest, or he's raft guide, or he's
Sure.
So there's all these people that are passionate about something that they're into.
Right. Well, and I suppose it's akin to meeting a ski instructor in Vail. Of course, other people might think you're nuts for doing that for a living or that lifestyle, but in Vail, it's just another ski instructor.
It's a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, I started shooting more motion, and then I loved traveling. I ended up breaking my back skiing. I'd already the season before I'd broke my tailbone skiing.
Jesus.
Skiing off a cliff accidentally.
Well, I mean, if Bono and Kennedy are any
so that was a little bit mishap. That kind of put me in hospital for 7 weeks, and I came out and I met this Canadian girl, and she was going to France, and I thought that was a bloody good idea. So I jumped on a flight and went to France via 2 months in Thailand rehab.
Oh, there you go. As you'll do.
Got to Europe and started filming more ski stuff, and so I had crossed over from skydiving to snow, and there was huge business for me in Europe, filming luxury resorts, ski resorts, accommodation, and then the extreme part of the skiing part.
Sure.
So I did that, and then in the summers I'd skydive, and then ended up in Emporia Brava. And by accident, really, I got down to I'd finished a ski season in Crans-Montana, instructing there, and it was a bit of a shit season. No snow, no money. Couldn't really afford to fly back to New Zealand. You know, it's a one-way ticket to Europe. Had to make my money to get back.
All right.
And next minute, it's like I'm heading down to Barcelona on a long train ride from France. Sorry, got there and I was meeting up with a new operation, setting up a 182, and it didn't turn up. So we ended up doing a lot of groundwork, getting this tandem operation started.
Sure.
In AFF tandems, just out of a 182, a couple of us, the owner and me. Anyway, the first day it came in to take off in Castellón, it was, the pilot came and landed hot, powered up to take off, or to drop the first load.
Right.
And I was remembering I was watching the World 500 GP motorcycle race in the container office, looking out and going, wow, the first load, we're underway, the drop zones all go.
Right.
182 comes in, it's a bit hot, and it's like, bro, you need to go around. He climbs out, but turns on the climb out straight away because he didn't want to go over the houses at the end of the threshold. Next minute, he's stalling into a motorised glider on a 172 on the ground right beside a fuel tank. So it was like
Jesus.
kind of, that was ugly, and I kind of saw my job go up, you know, with that.
In smoke.
There was all of a sudden shit. So we sprinted over, pulled him out, and he luckily just broke a couple of ribs, but the 182 was on its nose, fuel all over the tarmac. It was pretty ugly.
Oof.
So we pulled him out, and then I just remember this guy, Scott, who was on the Spanish 8-way team. He goes, shit, I'm gonna ring the guys, the president of the Spanish Skydiving Federation. I'll let him know. And so he goes, hey, there's this Kiwi camera flyer here who needs a job. And Ivan, who ran the skydiving at Emporia Brava, then said, he was one of the owners, said, send him up and we'll see what he's up to. So I jumped on a train the next morning, 7 hours to Emporia Brava, got off, and there's all these people sit flying and swooping, and it was just like I'd seen in the movies. From Wings Came Flight, there I was, and I was like, there's no way I ever thought I'd be working in Emporia Brava,
Sure.
or let alone visiting Emporia Brava.
Right.
So rocked up there, and Bruno Broken was off to the World Meet with Marco Manna, and they needed someone to replace him. And now there's a lot of instructors sitting around going, yeah, I'll fly camera, but there was no camera flyers.
Right,
so they looked at my show reel and went, when do you want to start? So that's when I started jumping at Emporia, and that was amazing because it was like here, you know, the mix of people that turn up to jump is insane.
Yeah.
You know, you got from free flying and free flying was really new then. It was sit flying mainly then, and it was 96, 97.
Which is when I got started, and that was when places like Paris Valley and Eloy were going off, and my heroes were, you know, obviously the big
Fly boys.
Yeah, of course. You know, I mean, Fritz and Mike and Eli.
Clowns.
Yeah, I knew them and jumped with them and had met Olav and Omar they were heroes. You know, I was watching their Chronicles videos, which were the greatest fucking things ever at the time, of doing all the shit that I daydreamed of. And the next thing you know, holy shit, that's Omar sitting across from me on the load. So same kind of thing too. You're just in awe.
It's amazing, and then you start jumping with them, and it's and because I was really saying yes to any sort of form of skydiving to film, and I was focusing just on filming. It was amazing, and plus the difference within New Zealand. New Zealand's drop zones are focused just on tandem.
Sure,
it's like a meat factory of it's bores the fuck out of you. You know, it's like as a skydiver, it's you don't have chance to recover. It's just
Sure.
Same. And drop zones are like in Emporia. You were mixing up with coaching, AFF, tandems, camera flying,
sure,
load organising, skydive view, whatever it might have been. There was a real mixture of interesting work as a skydiver. And so that was good. And plus, there's a location. It's amazing. Of course, with I guess it's like in the Middle East with so many different nationalities. Of course, there's politics sometimes with that, but everybody comes back to the same thing. They all love skydiving and flying.
Of course. Well, and speaking of New Zealand, I know for anybody that their skydiving career started there, it would get pretty burned out pretty quick. But a lot of us Americans, when you hit that point where you had enough experience to try and travel a little bit, it was the greatest thing in the world to be able to spend summers in the States and then piss off to New Zealand and chuck drogues there. So I went and worked for Davey and Kelly and Ballistic Blondes, landing.
Wicked, with Rob Pine and
and landed on the beach in Paihia. So I went there to jump over a beach and get laid a lot. It was
it's beautiful there.
It's
Bay of
fucking
Islands.
wonderful.
Other part of my family lived there, and
stunning.
It's a second home for me, and it's beautiful. And it's like it's really laid back. The ocean's beautiful. The food's really nice. The soil's really nice. The people are laid back.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like New Zealand's version of Hawaii.
Well, one of my favorite things about the country in general and that town specifically is I became really good friends with a woman by the name of Paitangi, who is one of the elders for the tribe that's there. And I was getting ready to do the Russell to Paihia swim. I didn't even know that was going on, and I was a distance open water swimmer at the time. And somebody told me that this woman does the swim as well. And I look over and I see this beautiful Maori woman with the full mocha on her chin, and intimidating if you're, a Northern California guy. You're like, oh, shit, she looks pretty tough. So I walk over, but I start the conversation saying, hey, I hear you're going to be doing this swim. I'm going to be doing it. Well, super sweet. She says, oh, absolutely. That's going to be great. Have you started training? And I'm like, I'm just waiting for my wetsuit to show up so I can start to train. And she flips a switch and goes, don't be a fucking pussy. Get in the water. And I went, I think I love you. You're amazing.
It's not that cold.
Yeah, but to somebody like me, it was cold. And she's like, no, let's go swimming. So between training for the swim with her and enjoying that town, and then jumping over it and landing on the beach, and walking in board shorts, dripping wet, to the supermarket across the street to shop while you're still soaking wet from the swim,
and it's okay.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's laid back. It's a beautiful place. And, the people.
So for me, the just chucking the drogues was my break from the reality of work back in the States. So that part of it was fantastic for me, but it wasn't like in Puria where you're able to kind of trade hats out all the time, which has got to be really nice.
Yeah, for me it was like when there was no camera flying, I was working in Manifest a lot, especially for the boogies. So, there was 600 something skydivers there and 6 turbines to run with 2-minute drop intervals. It was pretty chaos.
Oh yeah,
it was amazing. For their Christmas boogie. But so that was one thing. And then I met up with Juan Ventura Sanchez. He was a local skydiver, and he was training to fly a sky surf board, and he wanted me to come and jump camera, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, I'll give it a go. That looks like insane. So we started training together for the world meet in Turkey, World Air Games. And that was insane. It's like I learned so much following a sky surf, and it's extreme. Juan on the X Games, he had the largest, longest board. It was like about 2 meters. It was insane. He's tall. He's like 6'3", 6'4", I think.
Sure. And
he's a pilot now in Qatar, I think.
Oh wow.
Flying jump planes, and anyway, it was amazing. And I started doing more and more video. I had invested in this little Sony PC7, I think it was, which was quite amazing because it was small.
Oh yeah.
And so I was using that for skiing, and I wanted it set up for Emporia.
It's pretty epic.
So it was amazing. And so I met Knut Krecker from was it Clowns? Oh no, Flyboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, I had just bought this Kevlar helmet, and I remember him and Beers one night going, get the fuck rid of that Kevlar, that helmet, and get a Gath helmet, just low. It's like, sell it while you can still get $500 for that helmet.
Right.
And so I kind of got this helmet set up, and it was amazing. It was like I was just that, like the camera was drilled to the side of my head.
Right.
It was low, it was small, it was kind of like pre GoPro, but really good quality.
Sure.
Really nice. Anyway, we just had a ball just jumping, and
oh yeah.
And then that was more and more motion. So I just concentrate on motion and editing. I learnt how to manually edit when I was making ski films in the North Island on Mount Ruapehu in 88, 89 before I shifted to Queenstown. and that taught me basically how to edit
Sure.
with tape to tape and stuff, and mixing in your CD through a mixer.
That's the old stuff.
And then I took that into skydiving and tandem skydiving with how I'd produce videos and
Sure.
stuff. But it happened fast. And then Red Bull, one did a deal with Red Bull that was wanting to get into Spain, and this was Red Bull was illegal in some of the places like France at that stage, and they wanted to get exposure for it. So we got a deal where we were getting a pallet of Red Bull a month, and we were selling it to nightclubs in Emporia. Because Red Bull said you sell it, make the money.
Right.
We were selling it for, I don't know, cheaper than they could get from Red Bull. We were promoting it, and then we were also using that money for training. And we were the first Red Bull sponsored athletes in Spain.
That's
and
awesome.
That was in '97. So
That's
that was
awesome.
crazy. And then the Spanish four-way team snuck in on the deal, and the rest, I don't know. But yeah, that was crazy. And then that kind of led to more TV stuff. Anyway, long story short, I met this woman, dragged back to New Zealand, got married, and started my own TV show back in New Zealand, but
nice.
all based on extreme sports. And
what a place for it, because not just Queenstown, but New Zealand has become almost synonymous with every different type of extreme sport you can think of.
yeah, and like you said before, like why you went to New Zealand, it's inverse season, so it's a real melting pot of internationals coming down off season, and it doesn't matter if you're a skier or a skydiver. You know, in the ski industry, I've done 39 seasons working in winter.
Wow.
And that's a lot of winter, you know, and a lot of back-to-back France, New Zealand, because it's winter.
Sure.
But 39 seasons of it as a professional skier, and snowboarder, but we won't talk about that because it's not my better days.
Right.
And you know, when you're skiing with a camera, it's far easier to ski with a camera than snowboard with a camera. Snowboarding with a camera, you're always on your knees. You've got one side you can film on. But I'm skiing and filming handheld cameras, broadcast cameras, big
Jesus.
red cameras, beta cameras, whatever it
Right.
might have been. So it was like it's a real melting pot. People would come down, the German ski team, US ski team. You know, I've worked with Herman Meyer, Bodie Miller, not millions, but lots of national teams coming down. Shaun White, snowboarder.
Yeah, spectacular snowboarder.
So all these people are starting to film, like what I was seeing in Emporia with the mixture of skydivers. I was getting that mixture in snow sports as well.
How cool is that?
And then started more, did the World Heli Challenge, and the World Heli Challenge is about some of the world's most extreme skiers. Now there's a free ride world tour, but
Right.
The thing about flying or jumping or skiing camera is you have to get to the zone. You can't film it on the sideline, so
Right.
you have to be incredible at that.
Sure.
Now the helicopter doesn't drop us in a chute when we're skiing. You know, someone dropping this gnarly untracked line. I've got to sort of kangaroo my way into
Right.
the chute with my tripod and camera gear. I don't have assistants and people going, hey, come on, get me makeup. It's
Right.
like I'm getting my shit in there, so everything's loaded for the helicopter, what it can take. And you're getting into some gnarly shit.
Yeah.
And also some scary gnarly shit. Like
was
the biggest thing is avalanche, really.
Yeah, I was actually just going to say I was watching a Netflix documentary, and the name of it is escaping me, but it just released, and it's got a mix of surfing and wingsuiting and skiing.
Magnetic. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet, but
It's good. It's good. But I remember thinking as I'm watching them film, they've got one perspective is a guy watching this avalanche film, go past him
that might be me.
with the skier going. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like I was filming the World Heli Challenge, and it was who was it? Very, very well known US free skier. But anyway, he had cut this face. It's like choosing a line, and it's showing fluidity and cameras around the zone. And I'd set myself up on this probably this face where I thought was quite safe.
Sure.
And it's like I'd made that call, and it's like it's pretty sweet. So I've got my tripod set up. I've got this big broadcast camera on the tripod. I'm out of my skis. I'm standing. I've got about 100-foot cliff behind me. Probably wasn't ideal.
Right.
But I'm looking up at this face to my right. Looker's right. Old Ted drops, and he sort of cuts across the top and releases this face. And I'm looking through the camera, filming this shot as he releases the face, going, Ted's fucked. That's the first thing I basically thought of. It's
Right.
like, he's brown bread.
Yeah.
This is ugly. Come on, Ted. And so he cuts his way out of there. And as I pull wide, I see the avalanche is actually coming for me. And I'm like, even just thinking of it now, that little flush through your body, I'm going, fuck. Yeah. And it's like, shit. And I hear on the radio, they're going, avalanche, avalanche. And it's like, it felt like me, it happened half an hour ago by the time they reacted to it on the radio.
Sure.
Just saw the snow coming towards me, like this whole face, and going, I can't do anything. And then I was planning my exit strategy once I got swept off the cliff. So thinking that there was a line of choppers underneath me. There was also medics or ski patrol guys with dogs underneath me under that 100-foot cliff. So I kind of thought through that stage while I was still filming.
Sure.
My exit strategy was, I'm fucked, I'm going to get swept off the cliff, but these guys are ready to pick me up or dig me out, hopefully.
Right.
So that was kind of my attitude with get the shot, because there's fuck all else I can do right now because I can't put my skis on and ski out. I'm stuck here. Anyway, it turned like probably about 15, 20 meters in front of me, which probably sounds like a big space, but in the size of a whole mountain coming at you.
Yeah, no.
It's like, and it was a little bit lower than me, and it's like a river flowing past. I felt the heat of the friction of the snow wash over me.
Jesus.
And I know it wasn't just fear,
right,
but it was like one of those moments was like, fuck. And I made the news that night. It's usually I'm making pictures for the news.
Sure.
But here was this little orange jacket on his face and this whole avalanche coming towards this dude and then turning, and it was like definitely one of those, I don't know, I didn't need to change my underpants, but it was like kind of one of those moments where you're in it and you just have to go with it.
Now, do you think the ability to cope with a situation like that, because I mean, I think anybody that's been in extreme sports, any extreme sports for any length of time has maybe a built-in buffer where it's just you get this little gap of time inside your head that allows you to just go, all right, I'm fucked, but here are my options.
Yeah,
but that's got to be, I mean, I think that's something you have to have inside you to begin with. But I think that the extreme sports thing definitely hones the ability to just go, all right.
I think it's currency. You know, it's like you, as a pilot, you can react to things far better if you're current than,
sure.
And same with a skydiver, same with a skier.
Sure.
But with the camera, you've got a lot of other elements because you're carrying a lot of shit with you, you know, and your backpack's full of batteries, so there's a lot of weight and stuff. So I think it's the classic. There's two types of people. There's the fight or the flight, and I've had other interesting things happen where I've smashed my shoulder skiing, but then skydiving I've had a total dislocation on opening.
Ooh. And
so once that happens, hanging under your small canopy with a total dislocation, you need your hands.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of options except go, okay, I've got to put my shoulder back in, and then I've got to get the shit. And you're hanging over 3,000 feet over Brisbane, or
right.
to Gulawa, I was in Australia
right.
for.
Jesus.
It was filming the Pops meet there. And it was like, it was shit.
Yeah.
It's like kind of, but I could have just given up. Well, I wouldn't for me, but people will just
right.
go, oh my God, it's too hard. Or do you deal with it?
Yeah.
And hey, there's a lot of pain putting your shoulder back in, let me tell you.
Can't
and
imagine.
then when you have to reach up and release your brakes and the shoulder still wants to dislocate after you pull down on to release the brakes, then you start thinking, I think I might just leg steer for a bit. And then, I'm not sure how I'm going to flare this bad boy.
Right.
I haven't done a lot of one-armed practice, and
who trains for that?
No one.
You just don't. Who puts both hands in a normal jump? Who puts both toggles in one hand and tries to flare out a canopy?
Cornelia, maybe.
Maybe. There's some badasses out there.
Yeah, I think so. But it's like
I'm
kind
not one of them.
You definitely, doesn't matter what the situation is, you'd never throw your hands in the air. I've skied off the first time. One of the times I broke my back was a powder day. It was a massive powder day, and I was like wanting to bust heaps of laps before the public turned up. Beautiful snow, Coronet Peak, Queenstown, New Zealand, and it was nice. It was the perfect day. Rocked up, thinking I'm going to smash lines, and that was it. Second run, I hadn't scoped where I was jumping. I had jumped there before. I launched off this little hill. It wasn't much, but you actually traveled a lot of distance, and you're like a couple of meters off the ground, 3 meters off the ground maybe, but you traveled maybe 80, 90 feet. So it's a massive big launch, and you went down. But as I launched, I saw that they had cut a cat track in my landing area, and that was kind of the longest moment. I knew whatever's coming up is going to hurt.
Yep.
And what are you going to do? So the best thing you have to do is like kind of try and land on your feet. What are you going to do? I'm not trained to land on my ass,
No,
so
no.
you land on your feet. Of course, the outcome's not flash.
Yeah.
But so I think you have to keep thinking the process of survival.
Sure. Although it's situations like that where the whole time slowing down when shit gets fucked is not a nice thing, because you've got lots of time. People don't seem to understand, and maybe that's just all the years of skydiving is how stretched out even just a few seconds can
distortion.
be.
It's like total, and nothing flashes in front of you. I'm not thinking of my kids, or I'm not thinking of my girlfriend, or any of that. It's like it's all the things I haven't done. All you're doing is thinking of how you're going to live.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And you do that the best way you can. There's pain coming up.
Right.
That's it. And that's the shittiest part is pains on. It's not like you're just, skateboarding and then next minute you've broken your wrist. It's like, hey, probably 5 seconds from now,
this is going to suck.
Life's going to change a little bit, and here it comes.
I get those in the few injuries that I've had in the sports. It's usually here it comes. This is going to suck, and then it's that few minutes of adrenaline, but the realization that when this pain finally arrives, and it's usually late, it's going to be bad as you're watching your fingertips touching your elbow because you just shattered your wrist.
Yeah, that's not kind of optimal, is it?
No, and that's when I'm not sure if the mentality that we get from doing all the stuff that we do is a blessing or a curse.
No, I think it's clear thinking, and it's like you can cope under a sort of situation, but you're not thrown into a random situation. Everything takes training.
Sure.
And it's that training that sort of trains your mind.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if you're in business or relationship or, training your body and health. It's
right.
like it's the training that gets you the best possible result.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's like kind of trying to make it up as you go. It's not going to, I just might give this AFF. No, don't worry about the AFF. I'm just going to go straight to 15.
Yeah, right.
It's like you got to train whatever you're doing, and I think what skydiving teaches you is discipline, because you're only progressing as fast as you can. You're not kind of let loose.
Right.
There's quite good sort of benchmarks that you've got to reach to do that, and you can cross that over in other parts of your life as well, I think.
Sure. That's actually one of the big differences between skydiving and base jumping is base jumping you can really attempt to exceed your ability, whereas with skydiving it's much more regimented. So, which is also one of the reasons I'm not a base jumper.
I think with base jumping, you know some right people, and you can jump up there and go, hey, sweet. But it's like kind of
right.
with skydiving and planes involved, there's rules involved, and that's a good thing.
Yes, yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm a big fan of rules in that particular venue that keep me safe and alive.
And I think with base jumping as well, and I've only done 6 in my life, and it was old gear and stuff, but it was like kind of, you kind of want to follow the rules base jumping as well.
Sure.
And who you're mixing with, that's going to set the standard of, being loose in base jumping's not probably the sport for you.
No. Well, and I've heard stories from a lot of the people that I've had on the podcast that are hardcore base jumpers and skydivers as well, and they tell stories of the ones that showed up clearly not really knowing what's going on, and those guys aren't around anymore.
Airtime is a wonderful thing, and you can get most of it
out
of a plane first, and then hone those skills, and then go base jumping.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Now, is a shitload of skiing, shitload of skydiving, are those the only sports primarily that you cover, or do you go other directions as well?
No, it's like I love surfing. Been like a crazy surfer. Our farm in New Zealand was really close to the wild west coast of the North Island, Port Waikato and Raglan. So it was always good for that. I'm trying to get more into paddleboarding, just because the ocean's here and it's really accessible.
Sure.
And I love off-roading. And off-roading for me is like skiing. You choose terrain, it's terrain choice, terrain management, and you can get pretty gnarly at it. And the sort of standard of off-roading I'm doing now is really quite. It's giving me my fix. I've been injured the last couple of years on and off, so it's like kind of off-roading is my go-to at the moment.
Nice.
And then I love rock climbing too.
Oh, wow.
Rock climbing is once again it's kind of like doing four-way. It's a small little spurt of 35 seconds of calculation and memory and full on like a sprint,
right?
Like with four-way RW. And so rock climbing's been really good too, but I haven't done a lot of it in the Middle East. And there's some really good rock here too. I just don't like the snake part and the scorpion part,
right?
Because we're bloody wussies in New Zealand because we don't have snakes or scorpions,
right?
So, that's freaky.
I was lucky. I started, when I started skydiving, I became friends with a guy, a skydiver by the name of Kevin Love, who was a very active climber at the time as well. And being in Las Vegas, we had Red Rock BLM land literally in our backyard, where there were probably close to about 1,000 pre-bolted sport routes. So, 80 foot up, 80 foot down, of anything from a 5.6 walk up to a 5.14D. So well below and then well above my abilities. So it was great to be able to go out there with climbers that were better than me, that would push me to do shit that I probably shouldn't be doing, but I'm with someone that knows what's going on.
The nice thing about sports climbing as well is you're only able to do what you can.
Exactly.
You're never going to do a 21 if you can only do a 17. You're not going to find yourself. It's not physically possible.
No, which is fantastic.
So it's good. And I like the risk element of, you get it. It's that moment of exit off the rock when you fuck up, And it's like, oh, is that going to hold? Yep. It's like, that cutaway reserve ride. It's that feeling of just that. How's the pack job on my reserve?
Right.
And not that I'm more, we love our gear.
Sure.
So but that's the same with ropes and clips on a rock. Who did the bolt on that sports climb?
Exactly.
So you start thinking, but you don't want to be thinking about that while you're climbing because it's going to fuck it up,
It's funny because I would get a dramatically bigger buzz off of climbing and the prospect of falling than I would off a normal everyday skydive. And it's a good analogy to use to the cutaway reserve because it's very much like that, but it's every single time I was on the rock.
Yeah.
And I went out and Kevin as well was teaching me how to lead. And I was able to lead stuff without a fall that I was having a hard time getting up top roping. And he's like, that's completely backwards. What's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm terrified to fall when I'm leading. So I ended up climbing better, not worse. But I think it was because when I was top roping, I was willing to take more risks or maybe rush a little bit more or something like that. But the intensity level for climbing was always like over the top for me.
Yeah, I think it's a good alternative, but like in Wanaka, it's probably like in Vegas where you've got all those bolted options, and there's shitloads of it, and it's kind of like living at a surf beach and not going surfing, rock climbing in Wanaka. So it was good, but when you're jumping and it's blue skies, you don't have time to go rock climbing. So when I finished, life as a professional skydiver, like 7 days a week, looking out the weather every morning, going, am I working today?
Right.
And then I started taking up other things as well. I love sailing as well. My plan is to leave the Middle East in a boat and sail around the Med.
Nice.
Just surf spots and photography spots. So
nice.
That's it.
Now, do you have other aspirations in regard to taking your photography different directions besides just the snow skiing and the skydiving type stuff?
Well, actually, there's new pictures in my head that I want to achieve skydiving, and so I've been battling injury the last couple of years, and so coming out of summer here, I'll be more radical and get more into some filming projects I've got in my head.
Nice.
But I dream of making a gardening TV show. And that's because I love gardening and an extreme gardening show, and that's one of my things of going, yeah, fuck yeah, that'd be really cool. Sounds really weird, but wait till you see it. It's going to be amazing.
That's funny. I always find endless amounts of entertainment in talking to different jumpers and the things that they enjoy outside of skydiving. Because there's such a normal picture painted of a skydiver that we must love all this extreme shit, and if we're not jumping out of airplanes, we must be doing something else crazy. And then you'll sit and talk to someone and find out that Joe Blow loves to crochet.
No, don't do that. But, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it's always so cool to find out, there's
a plan B and a plan C, and there's all this other stuff that, it's... When I was young, as a young skydiver, every moment of my time, and it's like that with anyone learning the sport now, it's like it consumes you. It's like every moment, where am I going to get my next jump?
Right.
When is it? How's the weather? Can I jump? And I'm there. And you're doing, if it's one jump a weekend, it's taken all weekend just to get that because the weather holds or whatever. Or if it's 10 jumps a day,
right,
you're there for it. You're ready. You've got jump tickets. You're ready to go.
right.
And then Monday to Friday, you're going, okay, when can I get back to the drop zone? It's like kind of. and snow was like that for me.
Sure.
Surfing was like that for me, and I'm kind of fortunate because I've looked for other adventures as well.
Right.
Because when it's downtime and you are injured from skiing, and all my injuries have been skiing, none skydiving, except for that opening with the shoulder. Is like, and that wasn't even from skydiving. That was a ski accident. So, you know. That's it. Skydiving has been, we're far from the ground, you can't get hurt.
Yeah.
Except, it's like if you're close to the ground. So,
yeah, I know. I mean, you and
like,
I think we have mutual friends that have managed to fuck themselves up towards the tail end of skydives every once in a while.
Yeah, it's just like, you want to respect the ground when you get close to it. I can take it easy. But, technology's changed, and it doesn't matter if we're skiing or filming or skydiving. Technology's always evolving and making us be able to perform better.
Sure.
But it comes back to we still have to be prepared for it. Technology's not going to save our ass.
No.
My Jeep off-road is going to roll on a semi-flat if I'm doing something bad or the wheels come off or the tyre comes off the rim.
Sure.
So you can't just say, I'm good at it because of the gear. You've got to be sort of mindful of training and getting
I mean, the
wild.
innovation and technology absolutely can help. I mean, you went from round parachutes to square parachutes.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. That being said, that same innovation and technology is what switched us from stilettos that were killing a bunch of people to, basically airplanes without engines that can go as fast as a fucking plane. So in that respect, technology is fucking people up too. It's very much you can't lay it all on the gear. It boils down to ability and training and currency.
Yeah, it's like the triangle. It's like the passion for the sport, the gear for the sport, and the training for the sport all come together, whatever the sport you're into, and it fruits goodness, and there's always respect.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like the learning suits with the wingsuits, I mean, when they first started out, it didn't really do all that much. It was just kind of a cool thing that Patrick and a few of the guys were doing, and now, I mean, holy shit.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And I think why it looks so good as well, or why it's caught on so well is the public, the non-skydiving flying people
can understand
look at it and go, wow, you can do that. And it's like, well, actually look at what you can do free flying.
Yes.
You've got more shit going on free flying.
Yep.
And for me, always jumping a wingsuit with camera, I was feeling, you're locked in. You're not as free as, say, just going out free flying. So
sure. Well, it's one of the reasons that I think that sky surfing had a very limited shelf life in regard to the general public and wasn't in the X Games for more than a few years because people, the general public, A, couldn't understand what they were really watching. And B, had to watch a TV even if they went to the event. So it didn't make sense to them, which is one of the reasons that swooping now is such a wonderful hope for skydiving in regard to the general public and potentially maybe the Olympics and such, is because people can see it. And if they don't understand it, seeing somebody slam into the pond and flip around and then get up and wave, they love that shit, but sky surfing just didn't make sense to people.
Yeah, I think and it was very prohibitive as well. And it's only a small, minuscule of people, and especially, I think out of all the filming I've done in the sky, most extreme to film because, I jumped with freestylists and I don't mind getting hit in the face with your foot.
Right.
But when that board's spinning in front of you, it's and you're close.
Oh yeah.
And the speed, the transition from fast fall rate to slow fall rate is the most radical out of any.
Oh, it's insane.
Any skydiving you can do.
It's insane.
And so keeping up with that and understanding and having that. But once again, it was one of the only sports in the world that the cameraman was part of the team.
Sure.
Whereas four-way and everyone, the cameraman can swap out. But with sky surfing and freestyle, like with Marco Manna and Bruno Broken, when they went to the World Meet and did that amazing stuff back then, it was like kind of going, that is amazing because it's the first time that a camera is part of a sports team. It's being judged on camera, being judged on moves, and it's being judged on what the athlete's doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was amazing because it was like all of a sudden, it's a team. Those two. And lucky I was on the Spanish skydiving team for 2 years as a Kiwi, which is fucked up.
Right.
But because I was a camera flyer, and there's not a lot of camera flyers who were filming sky surfing.
Sure. That's actually how I became a decent camera flyer in the first place. Was I was shooting video, again, like most jumpers, just to shoot video. get some jumps in. And then I started shooting tandem video, but I became good friends when I worked in the wind tunnel in Las Vegas with an instructor that worked there as well, a lady by the name of Mary Tortomasi, and she was a sky surfer in the tunnel.
Wow.
So she was learning how to fly that board using the old sit suits and that board in the tunnel, and I was becoming this camera flyer, so we thought, well, fuck it, let's try it, and ended up going as far as the U.S. net. In fact, that's her right there. Over Lake Elsinore, and trying to come up and copy the famous move that Rob Harris and Joe Jennings did, which was the tidy bowl in the hole. Rob Harris on his head spinning one way and Joe on his back carving the other way around. Flipping onto your back when you haven't learned how to do something like that in a wingsuit next to somebody that's spinning a chunk of fucking pine in front of your face is an intimidating thing.
Yeah, it's like you get hit by that, it's full on. And it's probably the most scariest thing I've ever watched is... premature deployment, or just being a lazy deployment on a stand-up, and then watching that pilot chute go in between his legs, and then the bag wrapped around his legs, still in a perfect stand-up, and me sitting there in front of him going, what am I going to do here? And this is that was probably the most ugly thing I've seen, because I could just see, like my skiing off a cliff scenario of going, it's going to hurt soon, but for this one, it's not a good outcome soon.
Oh, yeah. Well,
luckily, he kept us cool, and he just unthreaded the bag and stuff and threw it off, and I was like, dude, the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That's when that shit slowing down is not necessarily a good thing, because you're sitting here watching this horror unfold in front of your eyes going... All right, I can think of 862 ways this is going to go really fucking bad, and there's only one way it's going to go good, but how cool is it you're watching him pull out that one way?
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, he had a nasty mel, and we just about had a canopy collision afterwards, but it was like kind of, because I kind of stayed around too long to see if I could do something, but, that it's still, video is still in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was always the toughest thing, too, when I was learning how to do that, or anything shooting video, and I'm sure you may be the same. You're hoping, and obviously once you get to a level, you know whether or not you got the shot, but there's that moment that you're like, please tell me I had the camera on for that. Tell me there's not a mel that way. Tell me something didn't go wrong. I was looking the right way. Tell me that camera is going to show me.
I think for me, it's like the reserve cutaway scenario. It's like I depend on my gear and I know it's working. And it's the very rare occasion where you go, oh, I didn't put film in. But it's not. I didn't put an SD card in. It's like the chances are, you're looking after your gear, you're looking after your reserve, you're looking after your main, you look after your camera gear the same. So and it's the same if I'm shooting portraits of someone. Or if I'm shooting something extreme, it's like I know I've got the shot as soon as I push the shutter.
Nice.
I'm not going, I better fire off 7 frames a second just in case I'll get a good shot. It's like I came up through a film background, and film was really expensive. And if I'm shooting skiing or if I'm shooting skydiving, it was like I had 24 exposures or 36 if I had a bigger budget.
Sure.
But usually it was 24 slide if I was using it for publicity. And that was $100 that I was chalking out on top of the jump price and stuff. So it's like kind of going, if I'm shooting, every shot's got to count. So you've got to rely on your gear, and especially camera gear and stuff. And you're putting it in some pretty messed up situations. And extreme cold in the Middle East, extreme heat, humidity, and in the sky, you've got lots of stuff going on.
Wow.
It's like.
I mean, and you coming from the photography background, me coming from none, I fucked it up a lot more gear-wise than I'm sure you ever have.
I think it's experimenting and making sure it's not about the gear either. With filming, I can make something look wicked on my phone. I wouldn't post it on my Instagram, my phone stuff, because it's like I like showing my photo stuff on it. But it's like it's irrelevant, the gear that you've got to make the shot. It's a combination of light and action, or the people or the subject that you've got in it. So people go, oh yeah, that's a nice shot. What camera are you using? That really fucks me off. It's not like, hey, that's a nice novel. What pencil did you use?
Right.
It's like kind of going, just because you've got a pencil doesn't mean you can write a novel.
Sure.
So, and that's the same with gear. It's like gear is just a tool. It's like your car or your hammer if you're a builder, or your computer if you're an editor.
Right.
The computer doesn't do the editing, you do.
I often wondered, so I was lucky enough last year to go, and I did the hike to Everest Base Camp. And I took a decent camera and I took my phone. And out of convenience, I ended up almost exclusively using my fucking phone because it was there all the time. And I got good pictures. They weren't spectacular, but they were good. But you're going up and working your ass off to take these amazing pictures with this high-end equipment. Does it piss you off a little bit that some of the shit equipment now is giving people access to stuff that...
I think it's good. Everyone's got a story to tell, and I think that's the amazing thing about social media. You know, I used to have to fight. I've made 150 TV shows of my own TV show. Freeze TV, it was like all about... New Zealanders, Australians around the planet. It didn't matter if they were ice climbing, dog sledding, base jumping, paraponting, skiing, snowboarding, whatever. It was all about that sort of genre of television. It was quite popular in New Zealand, Australia. Played on in-flight entertainment and stuff. But it's not about the equipment. And with phones, the great thing is more people can tell a story. Now I had to go through a whole channel manager and bullshit to get my stories out on TV. Now people can get really cool stories out on, like, look at our setup here. We can get great voice out. We can get great stories out. So I think the phone is good because there's lots of stories to tell. I don't see it as competition to me because everyone's got their own story to tell.
Sure.
I see it as a great way of sharing visuals. And as I learned somewhere, it's like 96%, or out of all of our senses, 96% is visual.
I'd agree with that.
And the other 4% is the taste, the feel, etc.
Sure.
But we've only become very in tune with our technology in the last 50 years. Or you think, go back to, say, sharing stories 300 years ago. How would your family have shared a story? Now, you would have only shared a story if you were from a rich family because you could afford to go to the theatre or you saw some street performance.
Sure.
Or an orchestra. But that's such a small amount of the population. I'll throw back 100 years and we got into film. And so you pay to go see the cinema, you got to see other people's stories in the cinema. Fast forward, we came to TV 50 years ago. Now this acceleration for visual entertainment has gone really fast. And like in the last, 20 years? YouTube came along in 2005. I was making stuff for online in 98 and people were going, oh my God, can I play that on my computer? And it's like, yeah, fuck, play it on your computer. Here's a little download QuickTime. It's free.
Right.
I'd compress in the little skydive movie or the little ski movie and say, download the software, it's free, and you can play this QuickTime movie on my computer. Oh my God, that's amazing. And they never really bought into it.
Right.
It wasn't until YouTube came along in 2005 and went, oh my God, did you see that cat flush the toilet? Oh, and it's like, what the fuck? You know, I've been doing this for 7 years, and it's like, Right. So anyway, people can tell stories a lot easier. Sure. Now you get really cool channels on YouTube.
Sure.
Like I follow some of my, inspirational photographers or filmmakers or flyers or, they're all there.
Sure.
So there's so many more stories. And I think the problem is what you should have done with your camera when you're up at the base camp is actually fucking have it out.
Right.
I bet you had it in a camera bag.
I did.
And you don't go skydiving with your camera in your camera bag, do you? You've got to fucking have it on your helmet.
Right.
So I think, my rule is when I'm doing extreme sports, I don't pack my shit away. I have it out because I see stuff all the time.
Right.
Now, it's easy because you're, doing selfies on your phone.
Right.
You get phone stuff. But if your camera was out, you would have taken the shot.
Oh, no doubt. Well, and it's funny because I was supposed to go back November this year, and of course, the fucking coronavirus has put a kibosh on a lot of travel. So that won't be happening this year, maybe next year. But I got all that out of my way. So that was the thing with that particular trip is it was such a bucket list thing for me that every 5 steps I saw another picture I wanted to take, and the phone was there for music, for this and that and the other, and so it's just click and walk and then click, and literally every step of the way. Now I would go back with a nice camera and a thought.
Make it accessible, make it easy. You don't need the shit. You don't need like 5 lenses or anything. I have rules when I'm traveling to a city. Sometimes I'll only have 1 lens on a body. And because it makes me shoot stuff. And I don't go, what lens should I have or stuff. I'll have a 50mm 1.2 or 1.4 on the front. And
now, with that, when you're doing something like that, does that automatically put you in the mindset of I'm looking to compose an image with the lens I know I've got on my camera? Do you just automatically kind of snap into that mindset?
I think I'll see stuff and it's already set up for that angle of lens, and I'll see stuff and I'll make it work with that. If it's too far away, I'll get close, and otherwise my favorite lens is 7200 2.8. It's fantastic. Throw that on, and when we're shooting action shots or portrait shots or whatever,
it's got a wide
action shots. It's like it's my favorite lens. It's
very
fast,
versatile,
but it's
isn't it?
heavy as hell. Traveling with that. Some jobs, and especially if I've got a broadcast camera, I'm carrying, sneaking on, probably now I won't, Sneaking on as carry-on, because you've got all your lithium batteries you can't put on your luggage. I've got about 18 kilos of carry-on.
Sure.
And that's just the basics. And so, and so I've got cords and power leads and recharges and stuff that are in a bag. So, traveling with camera equipment is a pain in the ass. So you want to keep it as simple as possible. Make sure you've got enough battery and card space and one lens,
Sure.
and keep it simple and carry it out. It's
Well, and especially with the stuff that you're doing, I mean, my Lord, especially with the locations that you're going to, and you're talking about being dropped in by helicopter for some of this stuff. I mean, this is not where you can just dig into the, the bag in the trunk.
Can you bring this up from the car?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
and those batteries got to last a day, and on some cameras those batteries are quite heavy duty. The lithium big banks are quite heavy duty. Technology's become more friendly. Battery is still pretty hungry, and especially if you're in a cold environment.
Yeah, I was going to say, so a
there
lot of
and
the
it's
stuff
like
that you're doing in the
-20.
cold, now you got to take, double the amount of batteries for,
You kind of just wear it as underwear, and that keeps it nice and warm. I'm wearing it now.
Nice.
That's good.
When I did the base camp hike, it was great because you'd get to, you'd hike from village to village, and you'd have access to be able to plug shit in, and you've got the portable battery to charge as well. But I mean, everything I had read was like, where you're going, you need to keep these batteries warmer than you need to keep yourself.
Yeah, it's like batteries don't last well in cold, but it's about not making it a hassle. So you get in and tell the story, opposed to using equipment as an excuse not to tell the story. So I think it's great. I've taught filmmaking in university in New Zealand, and it's like about, I don't give a shit if you've got a camera or you've got the latest Canon or Sony or whatever. It's about telling the stories.
Sure.
And it's the motion, it's the vision, it's the feel that goes with that motion to tell the story. That is the impact. Now,
Sure.
if you look at something on YouTube, people aren't going, but what camera was that filmed on?
No.
It's like if the story is powerful and the pictures stand up and are strong, and it's got enough to keep you engaged.
Sure.
Then you're along for the ride.
Yeah.
I made my first TV show was kind of like. It was by accident, really. I kind of wanted to make content for a local ski field in Wanaka, and I wanted to know if I could make 40 minutes, or like around about 40 minutes of content a week. I had this stand-up show. I took the bar for a Tuesday night because it was dead empty, and I said, I'll fill the bar up, got all these sponsors on board, started shooting on both mountains, promoting the mountains, got sponsors, made a party night. People would come along, all of a sudden their bar's full, and I started showing my stories from the week before in this bar, and it was really good because you got a really good reaction of if the stories were cool,
Sure.
Or if and plus acoustics are really bad, so the pictures had to tell the story.
Sure.
And from there it became a TV show.
That's awesome.
But I really got a really good feel of what worked with pictures, how the speed, the timing. And it was interesting because my skydiving career, when I went back to New Zealand, I started doing tandems. What the fuck? And it's like kind of because the drop zone was really small, and it's like you can have a job, but you're going to have to do some tandems.
Right.
And I was like, kind of, oh my God. But, a couple of nights a week I'd work in the local cinema as a projectionist, and I got to study film through these, watching Lord of the Rings and seeing
Right.
it filmed in my backyard and then
Sure.
projecting it for 25 times. You started to see shots and how things work. So
Wow.
yeah, it's like storytelling is really important. It doesn't matter if it's a still image or a motion, if it's skydiving, skiing, whatever. It's the strength of the image and how you.
Now, is still photography still your first love, though? I mean, is that if you had to fall back on anything?
Well, I think still photography is pure. It's like I was really fortunate when I left school. I worked with I didn't even know he was famous. He was just this old funny guy, and he had been behind the Iron Curtain, and he'd made these amazing images. And he was really old, he was probably in his, for me as a young 16-year-old, he was like ancient. He was
Sure.
as old as my grandfather. And but his images were really powerful, and his name was Brian Brake. And I didn't realize how important he was until I saw his exhibition in the New Zealand Museum. And it was like, I printed all that. I worked with him on those, and it was quite amazing.
Sure.
But what was the question again?
Just which, if you had to fall back on one, would it be printed?
So photography is really strong, and I think anyone who gets into motion with a still background is stronger than anyone who just picks up a video camera and puts it on a tripod and presses record.
Sure.
Because video is made 25 pictures per second.
Right.
And it's like if you can compose and capture the light, and photography and film is all about light.
Sure.
Film is, you get the acoustic part and the movement part and all these other cool elements that come into it. But photography is strong.
Sure.
But, between the two, if I had a choice, I'd probably ease. I hate edits in both. And
Right.
with video, it's like, oh my God, it takes so long sometimes on, if you work on a documentary or even
Sure.
if you're directing an edit, it's like kind of watching paint dry. You go
Right.
over and over and over and over it. Or for a TV show, would make 30 minutes a week.
Sure.
And I direct the edit, have an editor, but by the time you printed it out and sent it off to broadcast, no fucking way I wanted to watch it on TV.
Right,
It's like
right.
kind of going, but it's the difference when you have something strong on your wall and you look up at it and you go, like, I love your tree shot.
Right.
There's light, there's motion, there's movement in trees.
Sure.
And it's like, wow, that's really strong.
And that kind of photography always spoke to me as well. One of my favorite photographers ever was Antz Hansen.
Yeah, me too.
And it was just this, I'm a huge black and white fan. Most times I prefer black and white over color just because I think it's more dramatic for me. That being said, I love amazing color shots.
His book was like my Bible when I was a young, I was involved in photography since I was 12, local yacht club, taking photos of the start. But Ansel Adams, he spoke, like his mountains, I think because my Instagram's called Mountain Lightbox, so it's the strength is all about mountains and the place on Earth, and they're going to always be there. But Ansel Adams with the zone system and the strength in his light and his mountains, he still speaks to me as far as his strength and his power.
Well, and I'm also a huge fan of really contrasting photographs as well, and that was him as well. As you'd see these amazing contrasts between light and dark, and just such spectacular. And he's shooting in the most amazing places ever.
I think if he shot in the supermarket, he'd still make it look good, and that's the difference between someone who sees images and light,
Sure.
like he did. It's strength of capturing light and contrast,
Sure.
and what the subject is or how you focus on that subject.
Now,
And he's still a god in photography.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
well, now we spoke about, you spoke briefly about editing and video and stuff. As a photographer, I know that some people have a real issue with editing in still photographs, Photoshop art. It's more of an artistic thing than a photography thing. Do you have any opinion on that?
it's like my opinion would be there's no rules.
Good.
And it's the same with music. Oh my God, that was used as a synthesizer. You didn't actually play a piano. Who gives a fuck?
Sure.
It's like, how did you hear it? Did it
Sure.
sound good? Okay, if you look at it, does it matter if there's something, if that image speaks to you and it's like really huge impact? Who gives a fuck how it was made? It's like going, it doesn't even matter what camera you use.
Sure.
Did you Photoshop that? It's
Right.
like, okay, well, maybe they did or maybe they didn't.
Did you like it?
But did you like the shot?
Right.
And I think the problem is I think people think they can take a shit shot and throw it into Photoshop and make it better.
Right.
You can't take shit and polish it and make it look good.
Right.
There's
gotta be something to work with.
You've got to have strength. Now, like for me, Lightroom is like my darkroom. I had a life in a darkroom as a young photographer. Darkrooms it's a dark place in there. It's like it's crazy. It's like they're not. It's a weird environment.
I bet.
Working in the dark all day, but. We had an enlarger, we'd expose it, and this is Ansel Adams' scenario, is like depending on the contrast of paper or the fiber in the paper, depends on the projector or how long you expose it for. There's so many elements that you come through. Taking the photograph is one part, and then how you expose it onto paper is another.
Different, yeah.
Now that's electronic now. We can do that in Lightroom. So I'm shooting an image raw. So I'm not worrying about the color of light I'm capturing. I know that the color is what I want to capture, but all the information's there. What I do in the darkroom or the electronic darkroom now is I'll sharpen it a little bit more, or I'll get rid of grain, or I'll grad the sky to get rid of the brightness, or
Sure.
just simple stuff that I would have done in the darkroom anyway. So people go, oh, but that's Photoshop. It's like, fuck. You need to learn about darkrooms, buddy.
Well, that's what somebody else had told me as well. They're like, the darkroom simply was Photoshop before there was Photoshop.
It wasn't really Photoshop. It's just it's a professional print. That's what happens with a professional print behind the scenes. It's like some elements of the print you can't capture on film. Like this part of the image is really bright. Now, the only way to get rid of that is like to expose for that bright part of the image and then hold back the light on this part of the paper.
Sure.
when you want to brighten that part.
Well, and that's its own art form. I mean, you can make one photograph look how many different ways just by manipulating it in the darkroom.
No, I don't think it's manipulation. I think it's enhancement.
There you go. Wrong word, for sure.
But yeah, it's like kind of going, oh, I made this music on my phone. I love making beats on my phone. My kids play music, and they're both like crazy musicians. They're both crazy photographers. And like, I think we have now such a great sort of array of tools that we can utilize to craft our vision of whatever it is. So there's no rules. It's like whatever you dream up you can have, and there's no black and white of, oh my God, he sharpened that a bit too. Did you sharpen that in the dark room? It's like, fuck off.
Well,
if you don't like it, don't buy it.
For sure. Well, I've got a good buddy that's an architectural photographer in Las Vegas, and he doesn't like heavily contrasted images. I do. But he's like, well, yeah, if you like it, go for it. Because I'll play around with Photoshop all the time. And having spent so much time in skydiving, of course, you've got God knows how many images of this jump or that jump or the other, and you end up tweaking it in Photoshop over the years.
Mine are all on film. I have to scan them first.
It's
insane.
Well, that's me in videos. I've got 78 high 8 and 120 or 130 mini DV tapes.
Throw them down to drives as soon as you can before that magnetic stuff starts dissolving.
Believe me, I've been telling myself for I don't know how many years now I need to get a machine that I can convert it or find a company that'll do it cheap because I've got so damn many of them. So, but one of these days. Now, in regard to your videos, in regard to the TV shows, and in regard to any image stuff, how do people find your stuff?
So I've got an Instagram account called Mountain Lightbox. Yeah, go on there and like it up and check out. It's more of my passion stuff on there. My work stuff in the Middle East is based around time lapse.
Okay.
So we do long form time lapse of buildings growing out of the sand, and that stuff's been on Nat Geo and documentary channel and things where you see megastructures growing. That's the business. And it's a little bit different to skydiving stuff. And the other stuff is my passion projects, which is Mountain Lightbox.
Awesome.
And I think I've got to put more humans on there because there's a lot of landscapes in action. There'll be a lot more stuff coming on there. So
awesome. So Mountain Lightbox is where they check it out, and you're going to be back in the air soon. Jumping, you said you've got some ideas for skydiving projects. Anything you want to allude to, or is it all kind of secret stuff?
No, it's not really secret. Like I look at stuff that I've shot a long time ago, and I look at stuff now, and like I said before, some people are just wearing cameras; they're not flying cameras, and there's a small few that are focusing on the art of flight, and that's my passion. That's what I really want. And there's such a melting pot of cool humans around to go and tell stories of, and that's going to be my focus.
Awesome.
And I think technology has changed in my favor. It's become a little bit smaller. I mean, good glass is really still heavy.
Sure.
I've got lots of weird shapes in my neck and back now from jumping cameras so much.
Yep.
And skiing and crashing and things, and so. I just want to be. I'm not really a GoPro jumper. I'd much rather set up a really nice camera and shoot.
Right.
Shoot what I need to shoot, but there's still lots of stories to tell.
Awesome.
And I'm seeing there's a massive hole for storytelling and flight and things, and so. Yeah, that's my next adventure.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to look forward to checking it out, and we'll get you back in the hot seat when this is all done and you can tell us about it. So Mountain Lightbox for passion projects. Keep an eye out for all the other crazy shit you've done. TV shows that you had in New Zealand, is there still ways to find that stuff?
No, this is before I wanted to put stuff online. I was getting over 1 million something views per episode, so it's like, why the fuck would I want to put it online and try and be a YouTube or
right.
That wasn't even around when I started the show. So I need to digitize that and get that stuff online.
Yeah, man, because there'll be a draw for it for sure.
That's crazy because, the nice thing about what I've done is the people that you meet and it's the locations and the people you meet and the passion that they have within those locations.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if they're an ice climber or, a crazy pond sweeper.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many stories out there.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's so many people with passion, and it's just like kind of pressing record and capturing a slice of that, because as soon as you press record, it's history.
Yep.
And, the path always changes. And so, it's good to sort of take a snapshot of history.
That's kind of one of the reasons that I started and still really enjoy doing the podcast is as much as I hope other people enjoy it, at the end of the day, this is for me when I'm a little old man to come back and listen to all the cool conversations with people that were doing their thing, following their passions and following their dreams. And I get to kind of be a small part of every little bit of that, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to tell stories.
Yeah.
And, we've always sat around that campfire and told stories.
Yeah.
And or got together or had a few wines and gone, hey, but it's actually putting it down, because we're not, the journey isn't forever for this part of the journey.
Sure.
And there's other people that can pick up and go, oh, actually that bit's really cool. I
Yeah.
mean, there was a big influence when I started skydiving. The nice thing about the sport was there's such an eclectic mix of different backgrounds,
Right.
from the mega wealthy to the bums. And I was the bum part,
Right,
going,
right.
where am I going to get my next skydiver?
Right.
But there was these little moments of inspiration, or I like a bit of that, or I like a bit of that. And, it's a real melting pot of goodness.
Sure.
And so skydiving's always been my fuel. It's always
Sure.
been my, and sometimes I go for years without doing it. But it's like, I started in 1984, 1986, I got into it.
Yep.
So it's like, I've still got lots of time to go,
Oh, I'm right there with you too. I'm the biggest draw to, and what's kept me in the sport has been the community, not the jumping itself, or for me the flying itself. I've been doing both for a very long time, and my desire may wane to jump for a while, or maybe I'm not into flying right now for a while. But I always have those friends that are tied to the sport, and they always will be, and that draw's always there. That community's always there.
And that's crossed over to other flight things for me too, because what I haven't mentioned is like I've really focused on air-to-air photography. And my specialty has been World War I, World War II aircraft.
Oh, wow.
And so when you see those, it's like, in freefall you see your mate, and those visions you see. But when I'm sitting in an open door of a plane with my legs in the breeze, and I've got my cameras, and this, P-51 Mustang or a Spitfire comes up and 4 mates on me.
Sure.
And I give them the hand signal to back the fuck up or to come closer. It's like going, who the fuck sees this shit? This
Right.
is incredible,
Right.
And it's like kind of those visions, those documentaries are made around flying. Is like, wow, that's and skydiving got me to that moment.
Sure.
I love climbing out of helicopters and filming, and not necessarily jumping. I have to land sometimes.
Sure.
So these are landings. I have to come down and land in these planes, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Because the pilots are really fucked up.
Yeah. Hey, I'm the first one to agree. Everybody always jokes around, why would you jump out of a perfectly good
'cause
airplane?
I've seen them land.
Yeah, and like, I know those planes and I know the pilots. That's why I jump out.
Like, look after yourself.
Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to sit down with me. Mountain Lightbox.
Yeah,
Check
Instagram,
it out.
Mountain Lightbox.
Instagram, Mountain Lightbox. Check it out, like it, follow it, and we'll check back with you when you've got the next adventure down.
Yeah, really nice talking to you. Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you so much.
Peace.
Yep. There you go. Another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. Coming from you, as always, brought to you in association with the greatest magazine in the known universe. That's right, blueskiesmagazine.com. Head to blueskiesmag.com, where you can subscribe to the magazine, get all the cool swag, be able to read amazing articles from fantastic people, see spectacular photographs, buy all the cool shit. Also, you can head to thefuckingpilot.net. That's where you find me. Both the books that I've written, the Fucking Pilot book and the Accidental Stripper, both still available in print and digital, and almost done with the audio. Also, Liquid Sky, liquidskymask.com is where you're going to want to go. Buy yourself a mask. They're going to donate a mask. It's fucking cool. Again, thanks for coming. We'll see you next time around.